Hey everybody! Welcome to the newest episode of the NintenGems podcast. I'm your co-host Jake.
And I'm the other part of the co-host, Braydon.
Yeah, together we make one host, separated at birth, cut in half.
And reunited at different ages.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If this is your first time listening, we actually talk about video games, not about how we were separated at birth. We talk about Nintendo news, games new and old, and we talk about a classic gem every week, hence NintenGems. Well, since our last episode, we have added a Gmail account.
Yes, we did. That email is just nintengems@gmail.com. We would really love it if you would email us with your comments, questions, complaints, and maybe even suggestions for games to us to cover. For us to cover, that is. But because, you know, we haven't played everything, and I'd love to hear what y'all are playing and some of your favorite old retro games as well. So send us an email, that old school email.
Yeah, for sure. And by the time you're hearing this, we should have social media accounts up. We haven't really decided exactly what we're making, but probably Facebook and Instagram, maybe a Twitter. So I'm sure that'll just be at NintenGems on all of those. So make sure by the time you're listening to this, if it's up, to follow us.
And yeah, we'll blow you up next episode about it too. So find us.
For sure. All right, so do you want to just get right into the news?
Yeah, let's do some news.
All righty. So the first big news story from the past week that I thought was neat is Nintendo put out their Q1 earnings and their sales for the first quarter of this year. And so now we have updated sales on the top 10 selling Switch games. And I've never looked at this list, so I added the whole list, and I thought we would just talk about it for a minute or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm sure people have heard this before and know what this is, but personally, I haven't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in it from 10 to 9. I'm just going to read it. So it's number 10, Mario Tennis Aces. Number 9, 1-2 Switch. Yikes. Number 8, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Yikes, ? Number 7, Super Mario Party. Number 6, Splatoon 2. Number 5, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Counting those as one, I guess.
Okay.
Number 4, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 2, Mario Odyssey. And number 1, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So what are your initial thoughts on that list?
Well, I think I actually knew about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being just the best-selling Switch game, which makes sense. Was it a launch title?
It wasn't launch. It was soon after launch.
Yeah.
Though. It was within the first 6 months.
Yeah. And so it's been around for a while. Plus, everybody's played some version of Mario Kart before, and so it's very familiar. It makes sense that it's a bestseller. The 1-2 Switch at the number 9 position, is that just people who fell for it, like thinking it was going to be like a Wii Sports?
It's gotta be. Well, when they announced it, that's what I thought it was. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
I've never played it myself because I heard all the reviews and everyone being like, this is a $60 game that should be $10 maybe.
Yeah.
Should have been a pack-in for free. Probably would have been a really cool pack-in because from what I understand, it really demonstrates the HD rumble. And because you remember the video when the Switch was announced where he was like, look, ice cubes in here. You can feel the ice cubes in your hand. I feel like 1-2 Switch has a lot of stuff like that.
They show off the technology they are putting to use to its full extent. But I'm just surprised that many people have purchased it.
Yeah. Clearly it's slowed down because on this list we also have a numbers for how much they've sold in the Q1, and it was the least selling game out of all the ones on the top 10 in Q1. Right. Something else that I thought was interesting about that number 1 Mario Kart is not only is it the best-selling Switch game, but it was, again, the best-selling Switch game of this quarter.
Right.
This first half of the year, which is pretty crazy. Because, I mean, I play Mario Kart 8, but I guess when I think of Switch, mostly because Mario Kart 8 is a Wii U game.
Right.
I mean, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, it's deluxe, so it comes with some extra stuff. But everything that is on there was on the Wii U. So when I think of that, I still kind of think of the Wii U. So I wouldn't necessarily think that would be the number 1 Switch game. All the other top 5 completely make sense. Pokemon, Zelda, Smash, and Mario Odyssey.
Right.
That makes sense. And I guess Mario Kart makes sense too. But when I think Nintendo Switch, games, Mario Kart 8 doesn't really come to mind.
Well, and I actually just had the thought that a lot of people did skip the Wii U, and so they're picking up the new, they're getting the newest Mario Kart that just happens to have been the newest Mario Kart for 5 or 6 years now.
You're right.
And so I'm sure plenty of people, even like more hardcore gamers, have it as their casual game for family and friends. And if they skip the Wii U, then a whole lot of people are getting it for the first time.
Honestly, I hadn't thought about that because a lot of people's the last Mario Kart game they probably played was Mario Kart Wii. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess when you put it like that, it does make a little bit more sense.
It's possible.
Yeah, but I like to see Splatoon 2 up there. Super Mario Party, I didn't think that would be such a big seller.
I didn't either, especially just because it didn't get the best reception. I felt people were disappointed that it didn't feel like the past Mario Party
more
games.
like the past and the Wii U games did.
Yeah,
it was certainly better than those.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Super Mario Party. I had fun with it. So I'm glad to see it here. Yeah, and like what you were just saying about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think obviously that's why New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is on here. Of course, I didn't touch it because I played Super Mario Bros. U on the Wii U and didn't feel like it was worth revisiting.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about the new Super Mario Bros. Games.
I don't have much to say about that. You want to get controversial here?
Get controversial. Let's get this controversial.
So, I don't have Super Mario Maker 2. And I don't have New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I don't love 2D Mario games.
Whoa!
It's true. All the 3D Mario games are phenomenal. And 2D Mario obviously started a whole lot, but I don't know if I'll get.
God, you sound like my friend. This is not nearly as bad, but you sound like my friend who only plays 3D Sonic games.
Oh yeah.
He said he couldn't even finish. He didn't even finish Sonic Mania.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because Sonic Mania is like the best Sonic game to come out in the past 20 years.
Absolutely.
Because that's all the Sonic games, like the 2D ones are the ones that I have a special place for in my heart. And he doesn't like this. That just kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog for the 360. Ooh. That abomination. I bet that's his favorite game.
Well, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say it is.
Yeah.
You hear that, Clay?
You have bad taste.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, I'm not crazy about 2D Mario games. I mean, I certainly enjoyed Mario Odyssey more than I am currently enjoying Mario Maker or I have any of the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Not to say I'm not enjoying Mario Maker, because I do really like that game. But I am more of a 3D Mario person myself, too. So I don't really think that's as controversial as you might think.
Okay. Well, fair play.
Yeah. I just thought that top 10 was really neat.
Yeah,
so,
good list.
Yeah, so let's move on to our next news story. So I thought this was a really big deal for Switch. So Nintendo of America tweeted out that The Outer Worlds, which is a game made from developers Obsidian, who made Fallout New Vegas and are behind a few other Fallout games. They announced that game is coming to Switch.
We're playing with the big boys now.
and I say that's cool in like the way of like, I am not getting that game on my Switch.
Absolutely not.
That's definitely going to be I'm definitely going to get that on my PlayStation 4.
Yeah, if you have alternatives, that should probably be where to get it. But it's nice that the game is coming for people who only have a Switch and want to play it. I'm wondering what's going to be turned down. I don't know. What features are going to be toned down in this Switch version of the game?
It's certainly, I mean, graphics are probably going to be worse. It's probably going to run, instead of at 60 FPS, I could see it running at 30, which honestly isn't that big of an issue to me. I don't really ever notice it unless it switches while I'm in the game. If the game runs at a constant 30, I don't really notice. But like, for instance, we're going to talk about Fire Emblem more later, but the cutscenes in Fire Emblem run, I think, at 30 or 20 something, and the rest of the game runs at like a solid 60. So whenever a cutscene starts, which is the part of the game you should be like, wow, it's so pretty. Yeah. I'm like, why is everybody moving so slowly? But if it runs at a constant 30, I don't think that will really be an issue. But it's definitely not going to be the best version of the game. But if it's a competent port, I'm saying something.
Yeah, bring it on. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to give it a shot. Maybe.
We'll see. I mean, I'll keep in tune for all the previews and stuff. People that played at preview events.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed for a good port.
For sure. I see that, and it just, like you said, we're playing with the big boys.
Yeah.
Because it's what I love Nintendo, but it does feel like we'll get into this later with something that EA said, but it does kind of feel like a supplementary system where it's like, oh, all the big boy games you play on PlayStation or Xbox, but I'm going to have my Switch as well to play my little Nintendo games. But like, you know, I would like to see a day come back where in the N64 and the GameCube where it really felt like, oh, everybody's getting the same games generally, unless it's an exclusive.
That is a good point, that almost the term Nintendo games these days feel like a separate category, which they've all obviously always been, but just Nintendo games, that term sticks out to me.
Yeah, it doesn't even, when you say that, like, you might not even be just describing like first party Nintendo games.
Yeah. It's the entire ecosystem of Nintendo that they've set up.
And I have a lot of friends too that don't like Nintendo because they see it as baby games. Like still
less than games.
Yeah. And I'm turning them because I started bringing Smash to parties and stuff, and I think almost all of them have been maybe not completely turned because a lot of them still don't have Switches, but they're at least like, oh, I want to Switch. Even if it's just for Smash, but I think Smash is like a gateway drug.
Yes, it is.
You know?
You see a character, you're like, what are they from? You realize what they're from, and you go buy that game, and you fall in love with it. Yeah, that first hit.
Nothing like that first high.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so... All right, on to the next story.
Sure.
This doesn't really have anything to do with Switch, but it is Nintendo related. Pokemon Go recently passed 1 billion downloads.
That's like an eighth of the Earth's population. Yeah, I have no idea.
Crazy.
That's nuts.
Absolutely nuts. I haven't played Pokemon Go.
And only 700 million of them are spoofers. Ooh.
I haven't played Pokemon Go in a long time. Well, when I moved to my last apartment, I was walking a lot more than I was where I lived before. So I was like, hey, I'll download Pokemon Go. So there was like a few month period where I was like, oh, every time I'm walking from here to here, I'll check my Pokemon Go. And that didn't last long.
Yeah. These days, I was very hardcore when it first started. I went to the park every day and I would hang out with the group of people that just hang out, you know, around all the Pokestops.
I mean, weren't we all hardcore into it when it first came out, though?
It was a phenomenon. But these days, I'm a little bit more casual. If I'm going downtown and I know I'm going to be around a bunch of Pokestops, then I'll make sure I keep it on, you know. But I haven't hatched an egg in so long, you know, because I just haven't walked that far with the game on.
One of the really cool things, though, is, you know, at least in my head, I don't care much about Pokemon Go anymore. So in my head, I'll kind of think, oh, that game's dead. What do you mean talking about Pokemon Go? That's not the case. If it's a community day, I'll never forget. I went to a mall near me on a community day a few months ago, and it was packed with people all standing by the walls and just on their phones. And it was back when I was kind of in it, not in it. So I pulled mine out. I think it was, you know, it was one of those days where it was the Chikorita community day. So I caught like 1 million Chikoritas. I got a shiny Chikorita. But I remember I was standing there and a lady went up to me and was like, what is everybody doing on their phones? And I was like, oh, Pokemon Go. And they're like, oh. So like, and then even when I'm walking around my apartment, there will still be, where there's a Pokestop, sometimes you'll see 15 people there. And I'll be like, oh, there's a raid about to happen.
Right.
So like, even though it's not a big deal to me, like it's still a big deal to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And so the 1 billion mark, congratulations to all you Pokemon Go players, past, present, and future.
Yeah. Oh, something that I think I meant to add earlier. I thought it was really interesting. Niantic launched their Harry Potter game.
Right.
And did you see its downloads and players paled in comparison to Pokemon Go. Like, did not get close. I remember seeing a lot of stories that saying it was a big disappointment.
Right.
As far. So I think that's another really interesting thing is how the power of Pokemon, you know?
I know a lot of Pokemon Go players that are excited for the Harry Potter game to be out now, because that means Niantic can turn their attention back to Pokemon Go. They're expecting some big changes and additions, you know, coming soon. So,
yeah. All right. Yeah. So moving on, a little thing that dropped earlier this week that I thought was really interesting, not that I wasn't expecting. Nintendo put out in another tweet, which, side note, I feel like Nintendo's Twitter is becoming like the new Direct. It's like things that are too small to put in Directs, and they'll just drop on Twitter. But yeah, so they tweeted out that now another game has Labo VR support. It's Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which is cool. I didn't see that coming, honestly.
Well, and not for Captain Toad either. That game's been out now for a while.
Yeah.
For them to go back and, keep that game alive.
Well, have you played Captain Toad Treasure Tracker?
I've played I feel like I've played a demo.
Well, there's a very specific part. There are parts of levels where you're in like a minecart and it is just moving and it is in a first person's perspective and you're like shooting at things around you. So I feel like that would work perfectly in VR. I haven't played this mode or anything, so I'm not exactly sure what the VR does. Right. But I would be very surprised if they didn't put that in it, because that would work perfect for VR.
Yeah. Are there do they talk about new Labo on the horizon at all?
I don't know about anything on the horizon, but I mean, VR is the newest one. And I wanted to get it, but when it came out, I don't know if you noticed this, but it sold out like everywhere. You still can't get the variety kit. You can buy the one that comes with the goggles and the gun, like the blaster gun.
Yeah.
But you still can't get the big variety kit, which was the one that's like $70, $80.
Right.
But it's something I wanted to try out because I hear it's neat, which is all Labo is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear the mini games they built to work with it work really well. And they added a VR mode to Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, and I heard they're awful, like really bad. Yeah. I hear Zelda especially, I hear is terrible. So yeah, all I know is that those experiences were not liked by fans. So I'm not sure how well Captain Toad is going to be, but I think it's cool that they're continuing support for it, not just letting it die.
Well, and keep trying. Maybe they'll have a hit here in the near future that'll, drive the VR goggle sales through the roof or something. I don't know.
Maybe. On to one of what I think, not one of, but probably is the biggest story that came out of last week. I saw a lot of people covering it because it's huge, it's crazy, and it's stupid. Electronic Arts, they are one of the companies that really doesn't put that very many games on Switch. They've got FIFA on there. I think they have Unraveled, maybe one or two other indie games. And they revealed recently in one of their meetings with investors as to why they don't put games on Switch. So I don't have the quote from the person who asked, but basically an investor said, hey, The Sims is great. I think it would work really well on Switch. Why haven't you guys ported it to Switch? And this is what they said in response to that. Quote, anytime we're evaluating platform conversations, we are always looking at a couple of things. One, does the game really fit the profile of that platform in terms of the control or the community ecosystem? Two, do we think the community playing on that platform would appreciate the game there? Or would they prefer playing it somewhere else? We have a lot of data that would suggest a great many Switch owners also own a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One or a PC, and very often choose to play the games that we make on those platforms, even though they have a Switch, and they enjoy a lot of great content on the Switch. And so there's always an evaluation process that goes on a case-by-case basis. And I wouldn't say that The Sims would never go to Switch, but I think we're doing really, really well attracting Sim players. As we said, we did the promotion in the last couple of months and brought in 7 million new Sims players that we expect will engage in that community on a platform that is really tailored to user-generated content, creativity, and customization. End quote. So, what are your thoughts on that statement?
Well, I guess I want to ask you, I'm going to flip it back. So they just don't think that we're right for The Sims.
Right. Or
me and
pretty
my
much
little Nintendo buddies would rather play The Sims on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC.
Right. That's basically what they said. And I think that's, while this was a Sims specific quote, I do think it is it's kind of a
they mean it
sweeping,
more generally.
Yeah, it is a sweeping thing where they're, with every game they make, they think about this. And that's why, and wow, we haven't gotten any EA games. We got FIFA once, but dude, Madden sells gangbusters on PS4 and Xbox One. I think there's a market there on Switch. There are definitely kids that grew up like me that only had Nintendo consoles and only have a Switch that would probably love Madden.
Absolutely. I what titles could they bring? You know, what are they holding back from us at the moment?
Well, I'd say all of their sports games. I mean, Madden, NHL, FIFA. I think every new sports game that comes out, I think they should bring out. I really do think those are the big ones. Even
that would make them a ton of money.
Yeah. Even though I don't care to play them like that. Dude, The Sims, I don't play The Sims, but I don't play on my PC ever. And I think The Sims is like a PC game. But
I've always thought of it as a PC game, absolutely.
I would definitely be more apt to buy The Sims on the Switch.
I would too. If The Sims came to the Switch, I used to play it on the GameCube, actually, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would actually be interested in trying a Switch port of The Sims. I would like to see what they can do, and I haven't played The Sims since The Sims 2. So, I mean, that would be a perfect introduction for me, and I'm sure people like me.
Yeah. I just really think EA's underestimating the power of the Switch and how well it's doing. It's kind of like what I said earlier. I do think a lot of people see the Switch as a supplementary system. And I guess it kind of is for a lot of people. But I mean, I'm eventually, like, I'm going to have every system anyways. Because I'm just a gamer. Like, that's what I do. So, like, there was a time when I just had a PS4. But then eventually I bought an Xbox. And then I bought a Switch. And so I feel like there are a lot of people like me that do have a Switch and a PlayStation, but honestly, the only reason I play games on PlayStation that instead of Switch is because they're not on Switch.
They're not available.
Yeah.
I understand the pickle that EA is in. You know, they don't want to make games if people aren't going to buy them. But I think you're right in they're underestimating the audience for their games, as well as underestimating the willingness for people who have all the systems to prioritize their Switch.
Yeah. And I mean, what they're saying makes sense with some games. Like Jedi Fallen Order. I wouldn't buy that on the Switch, and I think most people wouldn't, because the port would probably not be very good, you know?
It might not be. I would buy it on the Switch. I'm
Really?
not going to lie. I don't have a PlayStation. I have an Xbox One and a Switch. I think I would buy that on the Switch. The Switch is kind of my first go-to system.
Interesting.
Before the Xbox One, if I
Yeah.
have the option.
Well,
The portability makes a huge difference for me.
yeah. All that to be said, like,
But you're right.
For games like that, it makes sense.
But you could be right.
Right. But for games like this, like Madden, like all the sports games and The Sims, which feel very Switch, you know? Very family, very all ages. Like, I am flabbergasted they're not on the Switch, especially how well it's doing. Made sense why they weren't putting it on the Wii U. Nobody was buying anything for the Wii U. But the Switch is like, if it keeps selling like it is, it could outpace like PlayStation 4 sales eventually. It's like very close behind the Xbox One, like already. And it's been out for 2 years as opposed to their, 6?
Yeah.
So, like, they're really, that's all I have to say, I guess. We've been talking for a while about this story when all I really have to say is they're drastically underestimating the power of the Nintendo Switch.
They are. Invest in Nintendo, EA. We demand it.
All right, so on to our next little story, which echoes something that we talked about last week. Last week we mentioned the Wii U's Amazon app shutting down, and this week, another one bites the dust.
Wow, that was not planned. I love that.
YouTube and Nintendo confirmed that their Nintendo 3DS YouTube application will be shutting down on the 3rd of September. So that one kind of surprises me. I think a lot of people still play their 3DSs.
I think the 3DS is very prominent. I mean, that's the other Nintendo system that they have for sale on the wall at Target and Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, kind of GameStop for that matter.
Yeah, they're not really. It makes sense that they're not really supporting the 3DS games wise. And honestly, I'm happy because I'd rather them focus on the Switch. But you would think for the next few years they would keep these apps up and running. But I guess maybe they're not seeing enough people using it. But I know the Switch is still lacking. Like, Switch still doesn't have a Netflix app.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it only has a Hulu app, which is crazy. Netflix, Amazon Prime Video.
EA,
what are you guys doing?
Come on. Look at the numbers, folks.
I literally, like yesterday or the day before, I was sitting and playing Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and I went, I'd like a break from this. I want to watch The Boys on Amazon Prime. And I had to switch to my PlayStation instead of just pulling it up on my Switch. And I was like, that's annoying. So Here we are again, underestimating the power of the Switch. But yeah, YouTube gone on 3DS as I stall for Braydon as he looks to see if there's a YouTube app on the Switch.
The YouTube app for the Switch has nearly been available for a year. So that's on us.
Still not available?
No,
it has been available.
It's been available since November 8th, 2018.
Oopsie.
And so
I mean, I guess I just watch YouTube on my phone while I play games more than anything. So the point is 3DS is gone, and that's kind of disappointing, I guess. I don't use it, so it's not affecting me directly, and that's soon too, September 3rd, that's like a month. So get all your YouTube app 3DS watching in right now, because after September 3rd, you're going to have to go to the internet browser.
Ooh.
Which evidently works well, is what I'm hearing.
I know a lot of people that still use their 3DS, not only for gaming, but like, I really feel like people use it as almost a tablet alternative, especially the 2DS. They're just so cheap.
Have you seen what they do at the Louvre Museum in like France? When you get like an audio tour, it's on a 3DS, which is crazy. Like what? Instead of just getting the little like audio recording things, you're gonna have a 3DS, but like it's usable for that. Mm-hmm. All right, I guess on to the next. This is a little short story, but Nintendo announced that they're going to Gamescom.
Whee!
So I think that's cool. They haven't really said what they're doing. They announced some of the games they're bringing, I guess, like Witcher, Luigi's Mansion.
Can't wait for the Witcher.
Yeah. Are you're gonna play that?
I love the Witcher so much.
You know the Witcher Switch port is probably gonna run at like 3 FPS at like 480p.
I know it's gonna be pretty rough playing, but I'm very excited. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I love the Witcher series as a whole, and it's going back to simply the portability. I can't wait to play it not on my own couch. Yeah, I can play it anywhere I want. So,
well, I guess to be continued. We'll talk about that when that comes out.
Absolutely.
Then. Awesome. So yeah, I think them coming to Gamescom is cool, and I hope maybe Direct at Gamescom ? It's not that far away, so I'd always love to see another little Direct.
Yeah, so Gamescom is going to be from August 20th through August 24th. So
it's only a few weeks away.
Yeah. Keep your eyes open for what Nintendo might pull out, and we'll definitely be talking about it as we learn more.
It very well could be absolutely nothing, or it could be something cool. So if it's something cool, we'll let you guys know. Yeah. So another big news story that happened this week, that we didn't definitely forget to talk about and then add later. Smash Bros. Ultimate 4.0 came out.
Woo!
With the hero.
All right.
The hero from Dragon Quest.
They promised it in July. Did they make it in July?
Yes, they did.
Woo!
By one day.
Right.
One whole day, everyone. And so we'll run through this a little quickly, all the stuff that was added in 4.0. We'll talk about hero later. But for offline modes, a very easy difficulty was added to the spirit mode, like the adventure mode, which... Okay, I don't know who that's for, but...
I can relate to the need for a super easy difficulty because of the Pauline spirit. You're on the OG, like Donkey Kong stage from the NES. You have reduced jump power, so you have to like land those short little bunny hops perfectly on the platforms. It's impossible. Very easy. Sign me up. Anyway, what else did they add?
So for the the video editing mode in Smash Bros, which I didn't even know was a thing. I knew you could take videos, but I didn't know you could edit them. You can now put snapshots in the middle of your videos, which is neat, I guess, for whoever is editing videos in Smash and not in a video editing software.
Yeah.
I don't know. They added some tweaks to the stage builder. They added, of course, all the Dragon Quest spirits into the spirit board mode. They added an online tournament mode, which when I saw, I was like, that's really cool. And then I remembered how bad Smash Online is. So, woohoo, I guess.
I would love to play in an online tournament, but yeah, it's rough to play online.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Another thing online, they added a spectator mode finally, which was something from Wii U that I know a lot of people enjoyed. So you can just go turn on matches and you can like bet coins on people. And so if the person that you bet on, there's like, no risk. It's no microtransactions, but it's just like your in-game coins. You can be like, oh, I think Fox is going to win this game. And then if Fox wins, you get coins as well. Yeah. And if he loses, you don't get any coins.
That's fun.
Yeah. And then they tweaked all the different characters. Way too many fight tweaks to go through. But look up the patch notes for that. I feel like everybody got tweaked at least a little bit. And they added a few DLC Mii Fighter costumes that are Dragon Quest themed.
Who's your main? Did he get
Bowser?
tweaked?
I actually don't think Bowser got tweaked. Yours did, right? Your Greninja.
Yeah, Greninja caught a down A adjustment.
Which, as you said when you read it earlier, you were like,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure there's a professional Greninja player out there that's like, oh no, you've ruined my strategy. But yeah, I don't think that's going to affect me too much.
Ooh, I saw one that's kind of cool. They tweaked Joker a little bit because Joker, a lot of people see him as overpowered, and his down special, which is a reflect when he has Arsene, if the projectile does 50% or more damage, it can't be reflected anymore. Ooh, that's pretty big.
That's really neat. What kind of projectiles do more than 50?
I don't know.
Like a fully charged Samus?
Maybe, or fully charged. Oh, dude, they might have added it for the hero because one of his that projectile. Right. Holy crap! But we'll talk about that later when we get into the hero. All right, on to another bigger story that I saw this week. Nintendo announced for its Switch Online users that they are now offering game trials for certain games every month. And the first one is going to run from August 7th till August 13th. 6 days, I believe. Yeah, that's math. But it's going to be Mario Tennis Aces. So this is neat, I guess. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the idea. So with Mario Tennis Aces specifically, I downloaded the Aces trial when it first came out. I don't know, there was a 3-day period where you could download it, play like with just 2 or 3 characters.
Yes. No, I remember this.
And then they shut the demo down. You could never play it again.
Well, because that was one of their global test fires.
So
it wasn't like a demo. That was like testing the servers. They did the same thing for Splatoon.
Really? Did they frame it more as a server test?
Yeah, they call them test fires. Because I know for Tennis Aces they made it available for like a weekend, and it was their like online test fire because that was before the game even released.
Right.
Yeah. And then they shut that down.
Well, I've been confused why there wasn't a demo this whole time. Right. And that they're only going to release it again for a week is a little interesting. And again, I'm just talking about Mario Aces specifically, but I like the concept of them giving us a game for a week to try it out and see if it's something that we want full time.
Yeah. And another cool thing that I saw is if you try it and you do like it, that whole week and probably a few days after, the game's going to be on the eShop with a 33% discount.
That is very nice.
So that way, because that's why they're doing this. They're putting games that maybe people are overlooking because, Mario Tennis sold well, but it's
number 10 on that list.
It's number 10 on that list. But they are probably looking for more people to play it. So there are probably going to be people that play this demo and are like, wow, this game is great. And then they can pick it up at a discount.
I think this might actually rope me in. I've wanted Mario Tennis since it came out, and I haven't had necessarily the reason to, but at a 33% discount, if I'm not bored of it by the end of the week, I really think they might have me on the line there.
Here's the thing about Mario Tennis Aces. You're really only going to need to buy it if you are going to be playing against people locally all the time, or you're going to get into the online scene. As opposed to Smash, the Mario Tennis online is pretty good. I've heard nothing but good things. I played it a little bit myself, and I've liked it. But in that week, there's a story mode. It's not great, but you can blaze through that story mode in a day, let alone a week. So, I mean, if that's what you're interested in and you've been thinking about, you, the audience, have been thinking about picking it up, or you, Braydon, you can probably do just about everything you would want to do with this game in a week. That's what happened. I bought it when it came out. If you're into fighting games and stuff, this is the fighting game of Mario sports games. Mm-hmm. It is complicated. It is in depth. You can get good. You can get destroyed by CPU and other players. So if that's what you're into, you're probably going to pick this up full time. But if you just want to mess around with it like I did, I think this free trial is awesome, and you can do everything within the week.
Right. Well, in the online, I'm not going to lie, is probably where I would spend the most of my time. I'm not very interested in the story that Mario Tennis has to tell, which, it would be with friends or online specifically. I don't know. We'll keep you informed on whether I end up picking it up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely interested to hear about that too.
So this starts in 3 days. Be sure that you, maybe there's a pre-download available, but otherwise, keep your eyes on the Nintendo eShop so you don't miss this demo.
For sure. Alrighty. So another little quick news story. It's kind of unofficial, but I have seen online and through YouTubers and through some posts that the new Switch model that we talked about, I think in the first episode, is showing up on shelves. So you can tell that it's new because the case, instead of having the white background behind the Switch, it is completely red. So if you see that and you either want the new Switch because you've got the money to buy a new Switch and you want to just get a new one that's a little bit more powerful, that's what it looks like. Or if you've been waiting to get a Switch and this is finally the thing to get you to do it, that's what it is. Make sure you buy the red box and not the white box. That's
right. I think it's really cool that they're trickling in. I'm surprised they don't have a hard release date. People would be getting in trouble if there wasn't, a hard street date that Nintendo had set, if these were already hitting the streets. But yeah, I'm happy to see them making the rounds, and I don't think I'll get one myself until this Switch kicks the bucket. But I am looking forward to hearing about how they perform.
Yeah. On to our last news story of the day, which kind of ropes into something I'm going to talk about a little bit more, because you cannot make me shut up about this game. Fire Emblem sales came out, and it did really well for a Fire Emblem game. It sold 15 times more than Radiant Dawn on the Wii. Then again, Radiant Dawn didn't sell that well.
So Radiant Dawn released in 2007, and we're recording this in 2019. So there's been 12 years for Fire Emblem to grow as a series. And clearly it has made strides since then.
Oh, for sure.
15 times? I don't know. That's I can't get my mind around that many more people are now playing a series.
Yeah.
That has been around for longer than, 2007. It started in the 90s.
And it's definitely due to the 3DS boom. Speaking for myself, and I know many others, Fire Emblem Awakening is what got us into the series. It's what got a lot of people into the series. And so all the people that played Awakening and then the sequel to that, those two games, really enjoyed those, are now hopping onto the Switch one. Because I know Awakening and Fates, that's what it's called. Awakening and Fates sold really well for the 3DS. But now this is just even outpacing them. So that's really cool. I like to see it.
Well, I have some questions about the quality of the game. Obviously, the numbers speak for themselves, but should we get into our next segment?
Yeah, let's get into our next segment.
Which is what we're playing, our modern game selection. And this week, we kind of have a smorgasbord. Jake's been playing a couple games. I've touched on a couple, and Fire Emblem is still one for Jake.
Yeah. The past 2 weeks, we just kind of got lucky in the fact that there were two huge games that were worth talking about for a long time. So this is probably what this segment's going to look like most weeks, is we're just going to touch on what we're playing, whether it's new or old. So it's been really hard for me to play anything but Fire Emblem Three Houses. Holy crap, dude. The more I play this, the more I love it. It's so good.
How much time have you managed to sink so far?
Okay, I'm about 31 hours in, so it's about 20 more hours than I was when I spoke to you guys last time. And I'm still in part 1.
Okay.
So there are 2 parts, as I mentioned last week, and I'm almost positive part 2 is as long, if not, from what I've been hearing, longer than part 1. And I'm 31 hours in and still in part 1.
Do you think you're approaching part 2?
Oh yeah. There's 12 chapters in part 1. I know that for a fact. And I'm in chapter 10 or 11. So I'm on the verge of part 2. I'm almost there, but that's still a ridiculous amount of hours for only the first half of the game. And one playthrough, because there are 3 houses, all which are pretty different. So if I really wanted to do everything, it would probably take me 200 or so hours. Yeah, I have a few notes. To kind of have it more collected than the rambling of last week.
Yeah, I'm giving you the stage. Tell us how you feel, Jake.
Well, first of all, I love it. I keep saying that, but it's so good. Like I said, I'm 31 hours in. A lot of people probably have made it way further than I have in 31 hours in. But that's because I'm playing this game in a way that I like to call recruit 'em all, in a Pokemon catch 'em all kind of thing. Because the game features 24 different playable characters. Each house has 6 or 7 to start out with, counting yourself, the main character. But almost every single character, except for the leaders of the other houses and their quote unquote bodyguards, you can recruit. So I am dedicating all of my time to being you're a cute girl, I want you. You have cool hair, I want you. And I think from what I've been reading online, because I've been reading a lot of things about how to recruit people and what people have been doing. And I read some things that are oh yeah, I think I'm just going to get 3 characters. I think I'm going to recruit maybe 1 from each house. I'm going to do that. Dude, I don't have an exact number, but I must have 10 maybe or more. And I'm working on some more. Freaking Annette, Ash, Ingrid, I have them at support level B. They keep denying me when I ask to recruit.
Jake's hands are on his head in a frantic fashion.
Because I'm almost done with part 1. I don't want to kill these guys.
Yeah.
Sylvain's got a support level B. Come on, guys, join me. Just join. I don't want to have to kill you later.
So that's really where you think this is going, though.
Oh yeah.
That's why you're pushing so hard for the recruit 'em all.
Right. Well, here's the thing. So I know that when the time skip, there was a war, which I assume is a war between the 3 houses and the 3 countries. But in part 1, I'm not going to talk any spoilers. Any specifics, at least. In part 1, there is because in part 1, everybody's friends. We're all hanging out. We're all friends. There's just kind of rivals, but nothing serious. But there are, bad guys. Ooh, I'm wearing a mask. There's a character named the Death Knight. There's all these menacing things. And to me, I'm like, that's cool, I guess. But I feel like we're going to end up getting, in part 2, people are going to be listening to this that have finished the game. I'm like, oh, this idiot doesn't know what he's talking about. But I feel like we're going to get stuff in part 2 that's like, well, they're all fighting, but it's all because of this one bad guy. And I was kind of looking forward to a moral ambiguity game, where whoever house that you play as, you are like, I have been with these characters for 50 hours. I am right. You are wrong.
You have to subscribe to their ideology.
Right.
You're going to get behind this.
Whereas one of the really cool things is I have two of my other really good friends got this game, and we all hung out a few days ago. And I went over and I was like, they were literally playing it when I walked in. And I was like, oh, you guys got 3 houses? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, what house did you pick? And one of them was like, oh, the Blue Lions. The other one was like, oh, Golden Deer. And I was like, dude, I'm Black Eagles. What? All 3 of us chose different houses.
That's hilarious.
So that was a cool thing to talk about how our gameplays were a little bit
compare
different.
Notes.
Yeah. And I love the Black Eagles, but a lot of people online who aren't playing as the Black Eagles are the Black Eagles are clearly the bad guys. They are the bad ones in this scenario. And again, I haven't gotten to part 2, so a lot of the stuff I'm doing is still schoolhouse stuff. Oh, there's a ball later. Who's gonna be our dancer? A lot of it's still like that. So I haven't gotten into, but there are definitely hints of I don't know how much I want to say. Skip the next a minute if you're not in spoilers. We'll have a timestamp in there. But are you okay with me?
Yeah,
bringing this up.
No, yeah, I'm good.
There's a part where so the whole game is you go to a school that's run by a church, and the church basically runs the whole continent. They're not in charge, but even the nobles and the kings are we must respect the church because it's the church. And they do some things there's a time where you catch some bad guys, and in front of the students, the leader of the church is oh, the bad guys, kill them. And your students are whoa, man. Or at least for the Black Eagles, the students are was that okay? That was kind of messed up. I don't know about that. And so I'm and talking to Edelgard, who's my house's leader, I can kind of see it might go to where we might be taking on the church, which could be seen as a bad guy from another perspective. So okay, spoilers over. 3, 2, 1, go. So seeing that thing that I just talked about that was a little spoilery, I thought it was going to maybe be a little bit more morally ambiguous, and there was going to be a little bit more moral ambiguity in the story, and I'm not sure that's where it's going to go. But I'm still loving it, and there's a few other things other than the recruiting that I've seen. I meant to mention this last week, but there's a place in the game called the Amiibo Gazebo. The Amiibo Gazebo.
That's so good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just for putting amiibos on there and getting items. I haven't done it, but every time I walk past it, I'm the Amiibo Gazebo. Hey! Has nothing to do with the game. I've not used it once, but Amiibo Gazebo.
You know, whoever came up with that name did that clap thing that you just did.
Amiibo Gazebo. I have it in our notes.
Yep.
Amiibo caps Gazebo. It's great. Everybody, let's all hang out at the Amiibo Gazebo. And then another thing that I think is just quirky about this game, you can have tea parties with characters to quickly increase your support with them.
Right.
And if you get a perfect tea party with them, which is every time you do it, you can choose a tea that they really like, and then there are 3 questions, or there are 3 topics of conversation that you can bring up. And if you bring up ones that they like, you get a quote unquote perfect tea time where you can quote unquote observe them. And this has nothing to do, it doesn't help your support, it doesn't do anything, but the camera zooms in on the characters, and quick time events show up that is laugh, talk, giggle, laugh, joke. And every time you do it, the character's like, ha ha ha, oh professor, ha ha, wow. Like even the guys, and you can like go up and like zoom in on their face, or like, you know, like you can go around all the sides. So it's true. Fire Emblem Three Houses has intense tea party QTEs. There are intense quick time events in Fire Emblem that have to do with drinking tea.
Is it as strange as it sounds?
It's as strange as it sounds.
But is it neat, or is it like, cute. Why is this here?
It's cute. It reminds me of I think it was Fire Emblem Fates. This never made it to the States, but there was a mode in that game where you could rub your characters. Oh. Like you could like pet them, and they'd be like, oh,
like Pokemon Ami, or whatever.
Yeah, but it was like humans.
Yeah.
They took it out of this. Out of the North American release because it was deemed like too sexual or something, but it reminded me a lot of that because it literally, there's no benefits. Like you don't get any extra support out of this, but I mean it's kind of cool because you get to look at the nice, beautiful 3D models of like your favorite characters. Because clearly, if you got a perfect tea time with them, chances are you know this character and you like this character. So like Bernadetta, best girl. First time this happened to me, I was like, oh, I'm so close. Look at her face. She's so cute. Yeah. So like. I dig it for that, but I just thought it's very, very Japanese, very, very quirky, and I just thought that was a funny thing that I would bring up.
Good. I'm happy to have learned that, and that they incorporated QuickTime events into this as well. Like they felt the need to do that.
Well, it's funny because it's not even like a QuickTime event; it just pops up and it's like A to joke, and like you don't have to hit it at any time. Okay. But I was just like QuickTime. Oh. Every time I do it, I'm like, oh A, oh X, oh Y.
Gotta nail this conversation.
But yeah. I'm still also just a little side note. I'm loving combat. It's great. I actually enjoy grinding in this game, which I think I mentioned last week, as opposed to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. So yeah, I'll keep talking about this game. I probably won't have it finished by next week, but at the rate that I'm playing right now, who knows? Because it's like all I can think about. I have played a few other things, but wow, I love this game. And like I said last week, I implore you, Braydon, and I implore anyone listening to get this game and play it eventually. So, Braydon, what's something you've been playing this week?
I downloaded Undertale.
Oof.
For the first time. And I want you to not talk about it. Because that's going in, that was basically the thing that I knew, is that don't know anything about it. Like, don't look anything up. Don't talk to people.
Oh, wait, you don't know anything about this game?
No.
Bro.
I've done that on purpose, like, for, a year now?
Oh my God. How did you avoid it?
Well,
I would have loved to play it like that.
I know, like, the Sans Undertale, like, just...
Like the memes?
Yeah. But
memes. You don't know, like...
No, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I just kind of wanted to let you and the listener know where I'm at right now, and that I bet this time next week I'll understand what's happening a whole lot more. But, so Undertale, I don't know, I'm a little boy. I fell down a crack and landed in this goat lady's house.
You're gender ambiguous, and you don't have a gender.
Do I not?
No.
I'm a child, and I fell down a crack into a goat lady's house. And I thought she wanted to eat me, but I think she actually wanted to take care of me. I killed her.
You killed Toriel? Bro. Goat mom?
My eyes are tearing up right now because I don't know. I thought I was supposed to. And now dude, this game is weird as crap. Like, the combat is actually awesome. The way that you have like this little heart. So the combat is turn-based for those of you that haven't played it. Creatures kind of pop up like any RPG with an overworld and then like a battle screen, like Pokemon essentially. And so like this creature pops up and you can fight it. There's actions and like different creatures, like some of them you can like talk to or like joke to them or like
you can do that with all of them.
Insult them. Well, I mean, but like you have different options for depending on the thing. And so like you can either fight them and kill them, and then like it's a cool little combat sequence where you have to line up some meters and then you have to like dodge. What would you, almost like Galaga or something?
Yeah, with like a little heart, right?
Yeah. And so you have the I killed the goat mom because I guess I misunderstood that like I really did have a choice in to just speak to her rather than fight her. Yeah, I just know that there's a lot of hubbub about this game. I wanted to have it in writing in audio format that have started this, and I'll give more as I know more.
Yeah.
Do you like this game?
No. Well, it's a good game, but the fandom is so cancerous. I can't get behind it.
Because it's so memey? Or
it's just bad. Oh gosh. All the Undertale fans are gonna come after me. I don't know. It's just like,
is it like for
they
5-year-olds?
Sexualize everything.
Oh.
You know, there's a lot of weird pornography of these characters and a lot of weird fan fiction.
Gotcha.
And a lot of, I don't know, it's just a weird, and it is memey, and it is a lot of like 13-year-olds who think they're edgy because they like Undertale.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that's my problem. There's a lot of things like that are like good, and I'm like I really like Rick and Morty, but I find it hard saying that I like Rick and Morty.
That's kind of a great...
That's exactly how I feel about Undertale. Undertale is a great game, and yet I've never finished it because of the fan base. I also didn't do what you did. I knew everything about this game going in, because I am very impressed you avoided things. Because I would have liked to, but it's the same thing with Doki Doki Literature Club. Do you know about that game?
No.
You should play. We're playing that after we finish this. Play that game. But I knew everything about that game when I played it, and knowing things about these games kind of ruins the experience. Mm-hmm. It doesn't ruin it. It's still very good, but you're not going to get the, it's like playing The Last of Us with knowing the ending.
Sure.
Or watching, insert movie with good twist ending here.
Mm-hmm. Have you played Earthbound?
No, I haven't.
Or, well, Mother.
I haven't played any Mother games, they're to be continued. They're on my list. When we started this podcast, I was like, ooh, I'm going to have an excuse to play Earthbound one day.
Right. Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. We should definitely. But I did mean Mother, because Mother 1 is different than Earthbound.
Right. Yeah.
I played Mother 1 on an emulator, and it's giving me very similar, like, absurdist, almost, I think it's going to approach the level of meta, almost self-referential, that it's a game or something. I don't know. I'm not even making eye contact with you. I don't want to know. But yeah, that's enough about Undertale. We'll talk more when I know more about it.
Yeah, to be continued.
So what else have you been playing?
So I've dipped my toes in a few other things. I think we should talk about The Hero, because I spent not too much time, because I haven't really been around a bunch of people to play Smash with this weekend. As we mentioned earlier, the online is not good. But I did jump in and download Hero, and wow, he is certainly different.
It feels like I'm playing a different fighting game with him. Like, if you made a fighting game with that kind of spell system but similar movements, like, that would be fun. I don't know. It feels like a different game to me almost.
The thing that you're referring to is his downbeat, which opens up a menu with 4 different attacks. I believe there's 19 different ones that are possible. Every time you press downbeat, it's random.
Spells.
A random 4. Yeah, random spells and attacks and stuff, which take MP to use. When he was announced in the video with Sakurai, everyone was like, the hero's overpowered. We have to ban him from tournaments. And he definitely has overpowered moves. Like, holy crap. He can do a critical, just random. It's not even a move. He can just hit you with a smash attack, and it'll randomly just kill you at like 20%, which is stupid, and there should be a way to turn that off, in my opinion. But so there's that.
Mr. Game & Watch laugh.
But and then there's like, he has other moves that are just like one-hit KOs, and he has a move that blows himself up. But a lot of the moves in his down B, you can't run around and go through the menu. You stop and you stand still while you do this. So a lot of those moves I've never been able to land. So really, I'm not sure how overpowered he is. I still think he's overpowered, but maybe not as overpowered as he could be. Something's
not quite right. He has a great up B. Like, his recovery is very strong. However, I did experience a moment where I ran out of mana, and then I couldn't use his recovery. So, watch out for that. But
yeah.
I think there's potential for him to be overpowered, but people are generally pretty good at coming up with counters for new characters anyway. So I'm sure with another round of buffs and nerfs, like, he'll fit in just fine. People will find ways to counter anything that's seen as OP right now.
Yeah. His stage is neat too. He's got some pretty good music cues. Just a better addition to Smash than I would have originally thought, I guess. Because I mean, I was one of the people that when they announced him, I was like, woo, I guess. Like, right. I don't care about Dragon Quest. I've played a few of them. I don't care. But I realized it's like the biggest series in Japan. Like, it's huge in Japan. So, I mean, it makes sense why they added him. And I think he works better than I thought he was going to.
Yeah. No, it's a neat new... I'm always impressed with what new features they can add on to Smash characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are like, oh, another swordsman. But he really does have some neat gimmicks, quote unquote.
Yeah, he definitely makes me excited for Banjo and Kazooie. Because when I saw them too, I was like, ooh, I really hope they don't just like clone Duck Hunt Dog. Because that's what that could be. But now I really feel like we're going to get some really cool Banjo stuff.
Yeah.
And the other two characters who we might as well talk about it now. Who do you think it's going to be?
Oh, Chibi Robo.
I won't. I mean, you wish.
I do wish.
But no, that's not going to happen.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll come up. How about next week we come up with like a couple good predictions for who we think could be the next couple Smash characters. All right, because I need a minute to think on.
Right. Yeah. Okay. To be continued.
Sounds good.
Cool. There were two other small games that I've been playing this week. Not to drag this segment on too long. We mentioned the Doom ports that came out last week, and I downloaded the original Doom, which I have never really played before, and I'm loving it, honestly. I can see why it was a revolution in 1993 when it came out. The graphics still look good. It's fun. It's hard. I'm just having a blast playing it. It plays well on the Switch. Ooh, something though. There was a lot of complaints about having to log into your Bethesda Net account to play this completely offline game. And it's true. I had to download. I couldn't remember my account, so I had to set up a new one to get into Doom 1993, which has no online components whatsoever. Bethesda has mentioned since that they're going to patch that out, and I hope it's soon, because that was the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember my account information because I know I have one, so I just had to make a new one with a different email.
Just slightly invasive, not necessary.
Yeah, it definitely isn't necessary. But besides that, it's a great Doom port in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I just think it's really neat how you don't aim in this game. Like you just kind of
you have to turn
into
on
the
a
direction.
vertical on a horizontal plane.
Yeah, and you just face the enemies and it'll auto aim for you. Not like auto aim to where like every one of your shots is hitting immediately, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It'll kind of, if there's a guy that's way up on a ledge and you're still facing towards him, though, it'll have you shooting up at him, which I thought was neat. And I'm definitely excited. This is definitely a good Fire Emblem break game.
There you go. Yeah.
And then one other little game I downloaded.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Last week, I think you did mention that people were having some sound issues with the Doom games, with the ports. You experienced anything?
Nope. I didn't.
The soundtrack
anything.
is.
I'm not. Like I said, I've never played the original one before. I've never played the original Doom before, so I'm sure there are people that are playing this game that are like, oh, I've played every single re-release of Doom, and this one is different than all the others.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. The game started and it played the Doom theme that I love in like 16-bit form, so I didn't notice anything.
Cool.
So another game that I played a little bit of that I was kind of excited for is called SolSeraph. Don't have much to say about this game. It's a little indie game that just kind of shadow dropped on the eShop, published by Sega. And the reason I was interested in it is it's kind of a spiritual successor to the game ActRaiser. Now, I don't know if do you know what ActRaiser is?
I'm familiar with the name.
ActRaiser is an SNES game, which is incredibly similar to SolSeraph, where there are two different parts. There are platforming parts where you are like this angel and you're going and you're like killing demons and like monsters. And then there's a whole nother part where you are like a god and you're like building houses and like managing your villagers. And it was a big game. I've never played it, but I've always wanted to. And people loved it. And there really hasn't been anything like it since. So when I saw this, I was like, dude, that looks really cool. I can't wait to download it. Can't talk about it much because I downloaded it, played the first mission, which is, it had a really flashy like cutscene intro. And I was like, ooh, this is cool. And of course I didn't watch any reviews, so I didn't know anything. And the platforming level was so bad. Like so not good. I literally didn't even finish the first level.
Oh, that's disappointing because when you mentioned it to me that you were like gonna play this and see what it was about, I went and checked it out a little bit. And I don't know, the mix of the two elements sounded really neat. The almost SimCity style, I don't know, management, resource management, population management. That sounded cool. And Age of Empires was a game that I played a whole lot as a kid, and it kind of gave me those vibes. But it sounds like no.
Maybe that part's a lot better. The graphics just looked really muddy. I was not impressed. And then, I don't know, it just didn't play great. I just wasn't getting great vibes from it. Maybe it picks up. Looking at reviews now, it's getting kind of 6s across the board.
Interesting.
Which is probably what I would end up giving it if I played more. I am going to play more. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Because I do want to get to the like management style, but it's really hard when I have Fire Emblem sitting, which is like without a doubt my favorite game of the year so far, and it might be my game of the year. Like I'm calling it. Looking at what else is coming out this year, it very well could be like. I think I mentioned last week, I have it on like last year my game of the year was Red Dead 2, and I have it on like Red Dead 2 level right now. Like I'm so sucked into this game. So it's really hard going from Fire Emblem to SolSeraph.
Yeah.
You know?
You paid $15
It was just $15. So I'm not upset. It was $15. I wanted to play it anyways. I'd heard about it. So I'm happy I formed my own decision. Sure. And I'll play more of it and we'll have an update later. But yeah. So that's SolSeraph. A little disappointing. But we'll see. We'll get into more of it later.
All right. So we've covered our news. We've covered our what we're playing, our new games. Shall we get into the NintenGem of the week?
Let's get into the NintenGem. This is one that you suggested, and I think when you suggested it, and when you texted me and sent this, you had a whole list, and this was in it, and I immediately was like, that one.
I can't believe you picked this one out of that list
because I think it's cool because it's obscure, and we talked about Zelda last week, which like everybody talks about Zelda.
We can afford a little obscurity,
right? So I think it's cool that this is obscure, and it's something I never played this game. I tried to find a way to play it in the past week, and I just didn't get around to it. But that's fine. I still think I'm gonna have a talk about it.
Yeah.
The suspense is building. What's the game?
Hamtaro Heartbreak for the Game Boy Advance.
If this was a podcast that had like sound cues, I would edit in like a generic anime intro. Because when you say Heartbreak.
Dun, 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 dun. Us walking through a field with the breeze blowing.
Yeah, and it's like da na 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 na.
Yeah, Hamtaro.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the series a little bit just for a second. This is not like a Nintendo series by any means. And in fact, I was doing just a little bit of research. It started as a Japanese children's manga.
Did you ever watch Hamtaro?
I watched the anime, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we can talk about that too.
Because I loved Hamtaro.
Yeah. So it started as a kid's book in Japan, essentially. And then they did adapt it into a fairly popular anime in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it was one of those anime that was not only popular in Japan, but like made it to America.
Yeah.
So for a whole, like I have to show you this later. I have Hamtaro figures
Do you?
in my room. Like little wind-up guys. You wind them up and they like walk.
That's adorable.
Yeah, but at least for like our generation, like it touched us, you know? I feel like most people don't remember it. But like if you are of late millennial or early Gen Z, like you'll remember Hamtaro.
Yeah. And actually, I guess if you don't know who Hamtaro is, we should fill you in. He's a little hamster. He's a little orange and white hamster who goes on adventures with other hamsters around town. Like they have a clubhouse and they're all best friends. And it's an incredibly wholesome, pure experience.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I always loved as a kid, which was thinking, it was Toy Story-esque or something where like, oh, these ordinary things in my life actually live these grand adventures. Like my gerbil doesn't just sit in his cage. Like when I leave, he has a little secret exit and he hangs out with all of his friends.
Yep.
Or my dog, stuff I would think about. When I leave, my toys come alive and they all hang out. So it was very appealing to to me at least.
Yeah. And so like you said, Jake, the show did take off here as well, and they started making toys and video games. The first video game is called Hamtaro Ham-Hams Unite. Ham-Hams, those are like the squad that Hamtaro runs with. It's like the group of friends. Hamtaro Ham-Hams Unite was for the Game Boy Color, and it really laid the groundwork for a lot of what Ham-Ham Heartbreak was going to bring for the Game Boy Advance. Ham-Ham Heartbreak, it came out
in Japan in 2002, and it came out in North America in 2003.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's obviously a few years in between the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance. Hamtaro Ham-Ham Heartbreak looks really nice. The sprite work is really clear. It looks a lot like the character. Yeah, I have the Game Boy Micro right there.
I was going to say, it especially looks nice on this itty-bitty Game Boy Micro screen that Braydon brought to our recording studio today.
Oh, that's such a good noise.
Oh, it's one of the best.
The sounds, the sound effects are all there, but the gameplay, if the Hamtaro talk is worrying you right now, Pretend this game is just about generic animals or hamsters. They are all hamsters. But take away the anime connotation, this game is actually a great game. So you start out as Hamtaro. He's looking for his girlfriend, Bijou, who is also from the series. She's from the anime. And eventually you track her down and she becomes your partner. She's following you at all times. But the core gameplay element is all about these words called ham chats that you learn. You have a ham chat dictionary that got wet and you forgot all the ham chats.
As you would. You know, if my dictionary got wet, I would just forget how to speak.
No, and so Hamtaro goes out to fill up this dictionary again. And along the way, a little evil hamster who wants to ruin love and break up couples and happy friendships all across the hamster universe. He's breaking up those relationships, and you find yourself in the middle of it. The core gameplay, it does come from finding new words. You have 4 ham chats that are your basic commands. You have ham ha, which is hello in ham chat. You have hif hif hif, which is smell, which is like how you pick things up.
And Envision, this reminds me so much. I was messing around with the Game Boy Micro while he was talking, and he probably got distracted. I got this huge smile on my face because I distinctly remember watching the anime and the terrible English dub. Whenever they would do that, they'd go hif 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 hif. Do you remember that? Whoa. So I saw that on there, and I saw that was an option, and oh my god!
And that's yes. I want to touch on that. But then you have dig, which is digging. You can find some things underground, and then you have taku, which is roll. You kind of like roll and bump into things. But so Hannah and I, my wife. We actually sat down today and watched the first episode of the anime. Oh. I hadn't watched it in years. Oh, and geez. It was adorable. She actually even liked it. She is not a nerd like me or you, but can appreciate, anime. But she thought it was adorable. The reason I'm bringing that up is because, as you mentioned, they go hif hif. And the ham chats are actually drawn from the anime. And I love that. I'm really glad I watched the first episode because I would not have made that connection. But
I remembered it distinctly. I haven't watched the anime in years. And that sparked something inside of me that I forgot existed.
Yeah. Well, and whenever Hamtaro is confused in the game, he goes, Hike? And Heke, like a little thing pops up. And Hamtaro did that like a dozen times in the episode that we watched. I was very happy to see that they kept the spirit of the show alive in this game as well. I'm trying to think of a good description for how the game unfolds.
Is it like an adventure game, maybe?
It is an adventure game, and it's not entirely like scripted for you. You can visit different areas at different times, and I even think you can do some things in different orders at some points. But there is also a storyline you're following. And you do have to do certain things in order. And so, I don't know,
it's an adventure game.
It's an adventure. It's a cause and effect. It's do this, and then you can do this. Do this, so then you can do this. And it can be kind of difficult to find.
Kind of puzzly.
It's very puzzly. To find who to talk to next. So if I learn jump, if I learn the ham chat for jump, and then I walk up to a new hamster, it might then become available for me to say the word jump to them, and then something new happens. And so you kind of have to run around, and every time you learn a new word, see if it's going to impact somebody else. So it gets a little confusing at times, but it's a very bright, colorful, fun, wholesome game that really uses this dictionary system to its full advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to play. Messing around with it for a few seconds right there just brought back so many memories because there were multiple Hamtaro games on the Game Boy Advance, and I played the last one on the Game Boy Advance an insane amount as a child, like a stupid amount. It's called Hamtaro Ham Games. Maybe we'll talk about this later. Maybe not. I don't know. But it came out 1 year later in 2004. And it's like an Olympics style game, but you're Hamtaro characters, and it's clearly the same engine, and it really looks like it plays the same way, except there's a lot of mini games where you're like diving and doing sports things.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're all called now, but it's all kinds of different sports, like track and field, and there's like a volleyball game.
Sure.
And I played that game to death. And so Hamtaro, that game almost has a bigger place in my heart than the anime even does because of how much I played Ham games.
Well, and it actually doesn't surprise me that they made a mini game after Ham Heartbreak, a minigame collection. There we go.
Because that's the thing, it's not. It kind of is, but it isn't. Like, you have to run around.
There's an overworld for you to...
It's not like a menu where you go and play the games. It's like, good morning, Ham crew. Today is the day that the javelin throw happens. Do that. And then you have to like go and find the javelin throw, and then you go and you enter yourself.
Oh, that is interesting.
It is centered around these mini games, but it's not. It's not a minigame collection.
Yeah.
It is kind of like what you're talking, where it's like adventure gamey.
Right.
And there's different teams, and so like you have to do well so you beat this other team and stuff. Yeah, but it's sorry, not to take the focus off of
No, not at all.
Heartbreak. But
well, Ham Heartbreak just has some good mini games is all I was getting at, is like just some decent stuff that they really made work. Again, with this dictionary system, like you have to use different words at different times to like really work these games. And there's not a lot at stake. There will never be a timer. You'll never feel rushed. The currency, like you're gonna have an overabundance of sunflower seeds, which are the currency. Like, you know what I mean? They're not it's a low stakes, low pressure game, but really has a lot of heart, and all the characters just feel so well written and themselves. If you have any tolerance at all for the cute and soft, I would try and find a ROM for this game. Let's see. I'd be interested to see how much it's selling for.
NintenGems podcast does not condone downloading illegal games. Something I was going to say is there were 3 Game Boy Advance games released based on Hamtaro, and that is a perfect opportunity for my Hamtaro Game Boy Advance collection on the Switch. Where is it? Bring it out. Can you imagine? The second game, Hamtaro Rainbow Rescue, never released in North America. Released in Japan, released in Europe, never released in North America.
Oh my gosh. If it has any sort of the same systems like the Ham Chats as these other 2 games, I will sign your petition. Bring it to North America. Oh my gosh.
Also, there's
Rainbow Rescue?
Yeah, look it up. There's a DS game too that I've never heard of before, but I'm definitely gonna play, called Hi Hamtaro, Little Hamster's Big Adventure. And now I just want to play it. That one did come out in North America. So bring back Hamtaro. I want to see re-releases for all of this. The audience is huge. They're everywhere. There's not just 2 guys sitting in a room that want to play this game. I love Hamtaro. It's so good. This has brought back so many memories. So this is the reason why I jumped at that game in that list.
Yeah.
Even though I had never played that one specifically, I was like, dude, let's talk about Hamtaro.
So I did just find Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak on eBay. It looks like it's going on average between like $15 and $20.
Not bad.
That's an affordable. It's a long game. And I mean maybe 20 hours. You know, if you're willing to do everything, maybe 30. But for $20, a Game Boy Advance game, that's not awful.
And I don't think you'll regret it if this sounds like something you're into.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
So Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak joins the NintenGems
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. We'll get a official wall, like have some art and add like the pictures to it.
Maybe on our social media or something.
Yes.
I like it.
Mess around in Photoshop a little bit.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. So yeah. You have anything else you wanna say about Ham Heartbreak?
No, I'm feeling good.
Cool.
Play Hamtaro.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for the 3rd episode of the NintenGems podcast.
Yeah. We would both like to really thank you for listening in. We hope you've learned something. I've had a good time hanging out as usual.
For sure.
Be sure to email us at nintengems@gmail.com if you have anything to say to us at all, because we haven't heard anything from anyone yet. So send it in. Also, comment, subscribe, whatever the stuff
make
is.
sure to follow us on social media. Just search NintenGems. We're probably going to be at NintenGems on Instagram, Twitter,
and on iTunes.
For sure, rate us on iTunes. I don't know how Spotify and stuff works because I'm a plebeian. If you can rate us or anything or like us on there, definitely do it. Follow us.
All right, guys, we'll quit groveling.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great day. Thanks again for listening. And I'm Braydon.
I'm Jake.
And this has been the NintenGems podcast.
See you guys later.